This is a guide on the Proving Grounds Grandmaster Nightfall. I'm not going to cover absolutely everything about this strike, but I'm going to give you a lot of suggestions on how to make this easier, as well as how I run the tank room and boss room when I do my double GM helps on Twitch. I've completed this GM over 150 times and have fine-tuned each encounter to what will guarantee a clear, I would say with about a 95% success rate. Let's start with weapons and class setup. Weapons, you're absolutely going to want an Arbalist, a Scout for Unstoppable, and then either a Cataclysmic or a Storm Chaser in your heavy slot. You're probably thinking Cataclysmic is going to be better due to the 25% damage increase. However, Storm Chaser will still deal more damage without the acute burn unless your Cataclysmic is proccing bait and switch. So choose between those two heavies based on the Cataclysmic roll you have. Cataclysmic does get 4th times the charm though, so it's going to have better ammo economy too. For class setup, Hunters I recommend either Deadfall or Quiver Tether, both will work fine. Warlocks I like to use Well of Radiance, and Titans on a Sentinel, Bubble or Banner Shield is usually fine. I know a lot of other people really recommend the Banner Shield. First things first, you're allowed to skip one champion in this strike. I recommend the very first Unstoppable, as there's really no other champion that's really skippable in this. This means when the strike starts, you can just head up the rocks on the left to kill the barrier, unstop at any other enemies to spawn in the big boss. In fact, the big boss will only spawn in once you kill that second Unstoppable and a few of those legionaries. So if you want to hold off on killing that Unstoppable, you can clear out everything first, and then that way when the boss spawns, there's nothing else shooting at you. Once the boss spawns, you can get him to half health, which will spawn in a few more enemies. Now, this big boss is scary, but he isn't the smartest, so you can just stand on top of him and he will never stomp. If someone says that they have killed him with a stomp, it was back during season 13 or season 14. He has not stomped in over a year. Fun fact, it actually only takes 384 melees to kill this guy on Grandmaster, so if you're really feeling it, go at it. Tank room, the tank room is split up into two parts. There's the Interceptor part, and there's the Goliath part. When you kill one enemy that's already in the room, that starts the Interceptor part. The easiest way to approach this part is to kill one enemy, legionary or phalanx, from up top to spawn in the interceptors, and then kill the left and right interceptors also from up top. This might take you a bit of time, but it's absolutely worth it. It's solar burn, interceptors deal solar damage, and they would already one-shot you beforehand. There's no reason to risk it now. Don't use heavy or Arbalist on them either. Just shoot them with primary. There's no reason to waste precious heavy ammo on an enemy that just can't even kill you. Once the two interceptors die, you can see if you can kill any other enemies from up top, but if not, drop down and head to the left. You want to go behind the left side barricade to deal with the snipers, the two barrier colossus, and the two majors. If one of the majors is the Scion, do not kill him. He is our friend. His name's Greg. If the Scion isn't present, instead you're going to leave the third Interceptor for last. So from this left barricade, if you have a Warlock running well, place the well and you can use that to peek with a lot less risk of dying. If you don't have a well, just stay alive. It's really not difficult to avoid shots from here, especially with the first two Interceptors dead. From this spot, you want to kill the two snipers if possible, the majors and the barrier colossus. Arbalist runs barrier colossi over, so that shouldn't be too big of an issue. Just focus them with your group. Clear out the remaining enemies and then get ready for the Goliath tank. When you're ready, you want to make sure that the Interceptor or Scion is the last enemy alive, and then you want to head to the far left. Yes, right by where the tanks spawn in. When the last Interceptor or Scion dies, you want to place another well if you have it. If you don't, it's fine. It just will help you with your survivability. And you want to kill the enemies out of the left side door. Tether, stasis, Nova Bomb, anything to kill those enemies really, really quickly. Once those enemies die, immediately run the left Goliath tank over with your heavy linear fusion. Storm Chaser, Cataclysmic, Arbalist, anything to get that Goliath tank gone. Once it's gone, you can then peek and kill the right side Goliath tank. The idea here is that you kill both tanks very quickly, which prevents the additional waves of barriers, majors, legionaries, all that nonsense from spawning. Some other popular strategies are going underneath the middle and being bombarded from both sides by the barrier colossus, which absolutely requires a well of radiance. The issue I have with this strategy is that that's 100% going to spawn in the 4 barrier colossi instead of 2, so if you're running low on ammo, it's very risky, as well you're being bombarded from 2 sides instead of 1. The other popular strategy I see a lot of people do is standing near the entrance and using a banner shield. This one I think works better than the underneath strategy because you can still absolutely annihilate one of the tanks instantly. However, it's a lot riskier because the other tank's going to have an easier time hitting you because at that point they've already both spawned in. It's hard to explain, but I found the left strategy is very consistent and it's worked both seasons. It's not a particle deconstruction thing. It's worked for me solo on a Warlock, Titan, and Hunter, so hopefully you don't have any issues doing that. I'm not going to bother explaining the 2 arc charge room, there's no strategy there except for to kill the enemies and then progress forward, but don't be stingy on your supers. When the boss fight starts, you get a free super, so there's no reason to not use your super during the 2 arc charge rooms. Now comes the boss fight. So your best friend during the boss fight is the oven on the far side. If you stand in the middle of the oven, as shown in this clip, you won't get burned. The boss fight consists of 3 phases, and each phase has a whopping 6 enemies. That's 4 legionaries and 2 phalanxes. I know it's very difficult. This means the most likely thing that will kill you is the boss. She has a ton of health, and her damage does a ton of damage to you. The only strategy here is really to just pepper her down with primaries, or heavy if you have a ton, but be aware that there's 4 unstoppables later on in this fight. And then you just want to rotate between the sides through the oven if she comes to you. Just repeat that, hit her with primaries until she goes immune. When she goes immune, she's going to spawn in 2 unstoppables, one from the left, one from the right. You want to kill this set from the oven. You can either have all 3 group up and nuke one unstop, or you can split 2 to 1, but it's very important that you're set up to get rid of these unstops as soon as they spawn in. If not, it's going to turn into a shit show. When I do this, I like to split up 2 to 1, have 2 people stun unstop and use their LFRs to kill it, while the third just weakens and takes out the second unstop. During this phase as well, when she's immune, she's going to do a ton of solar orbs. It's usually between 11 and 15 rounds. The easiest way to deal with these solar orbs is to just wait them out. However, if you're impatient like myself, the act of going invisible, so that's dodging or doing your smoke bomb, will break the tracking on these solar orbs, and this lets you break it early. It's very easy if you're using something like 6 Coyote. However, I like to use Graviton because I think Graviton is the best Invis Hunter exotic right now. That being said, if you're watching this video, you're probably just going to want to wait. Once it breaks, it's another 6 enemies and then you repeat damage. This time when she goes immune, you want to quickly run towards the entrance as it's a lot harder to spawn kill this set of unstops. It's very possible. It's normally how I do it when I do my GM helps, but the safer way is to do it from the entrance. If you stand all the way at the entrance, these solar orbs won't hit you, only her void concussive attack will. So just be careful of that attack if you do this. Also, this set of unstop loves to teleport, so just be on your toes, have your scout rifle or glaive if you're really feeling it, ready to stun the unstops. Kill the unstops, break her shield, it's another 6 enemies, and then you're done.